Hi, and welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I am DV LeBron. Today, I have a very special guest. I have Dr. Hollingsworth here, the superintendent of WISD. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, DV. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. It is the first time I've been able to get somebody from WISD, so I think it's real special for Waxahachie to be able to, find out what's going on. Now, you're a relatively new addition to WISD. You're rounding out week 3, is what you told me. So, can you
Yeah,
tell the people Waxahachie more about you, please?
yeah. So I would say more than relatively new. I'm just about as new as you can get. So just walked in the door uh, in on August the 14th was my first day, and have hit the ground running. I'm meeting a lot of people, starting with our staff. I've been going around the district. I'm visiting our campuses and getting to know our teachers and our amazing kids, and spending a lot of time meeting one on one with our principals and our district and campus leadership.
So, could you tell the people more about you? Where were you working prior to coming in WISD?
Yes, sir. I'm coming to Waxahachie from Bandera. I have been the superintendent in Bandera ISD for the last 3 years, and Bandera is located in the Hill Country. It's about 45 miles northwest of San Antonio, and beautiful part of the world, and we have we have a lot of deer in our backyard, and I'm in the process of selling my house. It's a beautiful place to be, but I'm so excited to come to Waxahachie. Uh, I love small town America. I'm from small town, and Waxahachie, while growing fast. Uh-oh, DV, did you lose
Yeah,
me?
I'm here. Yeah, I do lose a visual, but I can still hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, it
I
just
can
I
hear
had
you.
an error on my screen. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
I'm from a small town, and I know we're growing fast, but so many things about Waxahachie still feel small, and that's one of the things that really attracted my wife Ginger and me to want to be a part of this community. And we have a lot of family in North Texas, and I'm from Boyd, northwest of Fort Worth, so I'm a North Texas guy.
Wow. Oh, it's funny because the new superintendent who has probably about 5 weeks at MISD is
Yeah.
from San Antonio.
Yeah,
So
Dr. Faye.
uh,
Yeah, she
I
and I
guess
both were in Region 20. Yeah.
these schools were tapping that San Antonio pool.
Yes,
But
sir.
so welcome to Waxahachie, and
Thank you, sir.
this is a very good community. I wanted to go ahead and get kind of in the issues. I do know you're new here, but the people of Waxahachie love to hear what your vision is going to be.
Sure.
So I'm going to go through and kind of just talk about the issues. I was watching, the board meeting, the most recent board meeting, and kind of addressed, the budget and where spending is going to go. You even touched on ESSER funds briefly, and I'm going to touch more on that. But I wanted to talk to you about, as far as the budget, from what you've seen and you've been able to review in this short time. Do you feel that it is an adequate budget for your needs for your plan for WISD?
Yes, I do. We're right now. We are in a place right now where we are able to staff in a way that we feel like we need to staff. Now, I will tell you, um, it's not a budget problem. Our staffing concerns right now are not budget problems; they are teacher shortage problems, and those are true. They were certainly true in the San Antonio region, and they're certainly true here. It's just a hard time right now. We have some shortage issues with substitute teachers. We have a low fill rate on our substitute jobs, and a lot of that just has to do with fear. I think for a lot of people, some people are afraid to because of COVID concerns and things like that. I think that's what keeps a lot of our substitute teachers away. But as far as our budget is concerned, No, sir. I feel like our budget is adequate and certainly appropriate for what we need to accomplish with kids.
As far as this teacher shortage, since you discussed it, it is happening. There's shortage just about every industry. There's shortages.
Yes.
So, can can you tell me? Have you kind of thought of some things, some ideas, or you kind of, thinking of some ideas right now on how you can attract more teachers to WISD?
Yeah, the number one thing that we do, or that I believe in when it comes to attracting the best people to want to be a part of your district, is to have a real solid clarity about what you believe. And so, in my experience, when you have a really clear vision and you have a really solid set of values that you're able to articulate to people, that's really one of the things that sets a district apart from other districts. And so that's really what I believe when it comes to attracting folks. It's not about, coming up with some kind of a slick campaign to attract folks. Honestly, it's usually not about, hey, let's pay $50 more than our neighbor. It's really about, do you know who you are, and are you able to articulate what that means?
Well, culture definitely plays a role, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Hollingsworth. Culture at a school definitely. People want to work where the culture is conducive to, to learning, to things. The other things don't get in the way of
Yeah.
educating children, the art of teaching. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
so going back to budgets, how will you be a good steward to the money that the people of Waxahachie are paying to the district? Because there's the political side, and we discussed this, on how taxes go and stuff like that. You don't deal with that. You deal with administering those funds once they come to you. So what can you tell the people of Waxahachie on your stewardship of their money?
Well, anytime you work for, I mean, I've been I've worked in Texas public schools for 28 years, and anytime that you take on a role um, of stewarding people's money and their resources and their buildings. I mean, everything we have in Waxahachie ISD belongs to the community, and we're acutely aware of that in everything we do. And so that means it affects how we make decisions. Um, uh, but most importantly, we're also aware that we deal with their most precious possessions, with which isn't their money, it's their kids. And so it impacts every single decision that we make. Are we making good decisions for kids? Are we making decisions that are sound? Um, are we making decisions that are cost effective? But first and foremost, are we making decisions that are in the best interests of kids? And for me, uh, that means all kids. And that's one of the things that really draws a distinction between us and what you see in a lot of private schools, and is the fact that we take all children. If you have a child and they live within the boundaries of Waxahachie Independent School District, we will take them, any of them, and we will work with them and learn who they are, and help them uncover their God-given gifts and talents, and we commit to working with families to grow them, and that's our charge.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty good. It's about the student, and you know keeping that student focus. Um, have you thought about how you're going to implement, because Waxahachie has grown. If you've seen, the census came out, Waxahachie has exploded, and there's a
Yes, sir.
whole lot more people, and there's people of very different backgrounds.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know what the star testing or the data of the star testing has told you as far as WISD, but how do you plan to fill in, or have you thought about, how you plan on filling those gaps with English learners, economically disadvantaged? And obviously there's been race talk in the country in general. how do you plan on kind of putting all that together in the teaching way, in the positive way? Because everybody has a negative thing to say. How do you want to do it in a positive way?
Yeah, we view our diversity uh, as a community, and our diversity as a school district as really one of our greatest strengths. Uh, I was talking to my wife, and this is the truth. I was talking to my wife 2 or 3 days ago on the phone, and she's still down in Bandera, and we're trying to sell our house, and so our youngest son Clayton started down there, and he'll transition as soon as we find a house here. He's going to transition to Waxahachie, and we'll go to high school here. And I was talking to her, and I just said, I love one of the things I love about Waxahachie is I said it's just like this little slice of America, and I mean demographically we almost perfectly match the United States in the makeup of our students, and it is a great it's a great reflection. And that's the train going by, so I don't know if that's impacting my audio,
It
but
is, but
yeah, but that's Waxahachie. We got a train going by, but we are a perfect slice of this country, and we consider it a privilege to work with the young people and the families we work with, and as far as the things that are happening on a national level and so forth, honestly, sometimes I think it's because a lot of the time people live in isolated bubbles from one another. If you know somebody from a background that's different than yours, and you really you get in a relationship with somebody, it's kind of hard to hate them. If we're in relationship with each other, and we get to know each other, and that's one of the beautiful things about Waxahachie. I mean, I think it really does give us a leg up on a lot of communities.
it does. It's definitely a very diverse community. Ooh, that train doesn't want to give up, does it?
No, it does. It's still going.
So let's talk about your thoughts on what the ESSER funds kind of that was probably decided before you got here on how those ESSER funds were going to be used. Can you tell the people Waxahachie how those what the ESSER funds are and how they're going to be used in Waxahachie?
Yeah. So this comes from federal stimulus monies that were passed down to schools through TEA, but ultimately came from that last stimulus package, the big one that was passed several months ago. And so Waxahachie, we got in excess of $8 million, but it's $8 million that's very specifically tailored toward closing achievement gaps and taking care of kids socially and emotionally when it comes to how COVID's impacted kids. And the bottom line is, in Waxahachie, we're no different than any district really in the nation, really in the world. I've read data that shows that the academic losses worldwide among students, they're real and they're very consistent. And so we're using those monies. We're buying some additional resources. Some of them are software packages, computerized software packages that will help support student learning in math. We bought resources related to social studies and civics education. We have resources that are tailored toward the social and emotional growth and well-being of our kids. Those are the things that those monies are being spent on, and they're very tailored toward that, and they must be. Those are the requirements according to them. As far as go ahead. I'm sorry, DB.
No, I didn't say nothing. That's fine. It's probably still the train. I'm
Yeah. Okay.
letting
Okay.
you
I
talk
thought you.
about, yeah, I'm letting you talk about your the thing. It's very interesting stuff that you're talking about, how this ESSER funds are being used as federal money. You were saying that you wanted to fill the gaps on some social studies, some math, some different things using different tools. um, let's get into the kind of let me move you on to the special education part of it.
Okay.
Special education is something near and dear to my heart. I have a special needs child, and I've dealt with that and in the education system, and the education system tends to be what it is, and sometimes special education children just don't fit in that peg, and it kind of round hole square peg, or you know what I mean. So what are some of the things that you'd like to do to, because COVID, and we're going to go into COVID in a minute, but COVID had a major effect on special education children. They learn in a different way than normal, and than other kids, and they also, it is much more difficult to catch up once they've fallen behind. um what are some of your thoughts on that? I know, obviously it's been 3 weeks, but I know that you think about those special education children.
Well, yeah, and I'm a special needs dad myself. I have three boys. My oldest son and my youngest son are both severely dyslexic, and both of them. And my wife is too. And so there's a hereditary piece that's associated with that. And I'll tell you that with both of them, I have sat in those ARD meetings, those where you're the parent, and I've sat on the parent side of that table. So I certainly know what that feels like when, especially when you have a child who is struggling um, just to read. I remember with both of them. I mean that, and we read to our kids. We put them in our laps. We did all the things that we think you're supposed to do with your children, yet they still couldn't read. And so I know what that feels like. What it really comes down to for any child, special needs or general education, is finding a teacher who loves them and is going to learn who they are and meet those children where they are. We do have a lot of kids that have significant needs, but we have an amazing special education staff, and I'm just getting to know them, and so to be honest with you, DV, we're going to handle those children not in the same way that we handle our general education students, but from the perspective of knowing them and providing that more personalized care. We are going to treat them the same because we do believe that we have to get to know our kids on a closer, more personalized level. I don't know if that does that answer your question.
Well, it does. I know that, like you said, you're just getting to know this staff and getting to know what your district is doing. So, I don't expect you to go into, every single art and what's going on with that. But, you know, it sounds like you believe in relationships, and
Yes, sir.
how relationships contribute to learning, and, or they, they encourage learning. So, and that's big, because special needs kids, they do value relationship, because doesn't doesn't appear to them like others,
That's right.
especially when they're dyslexic. So those things, those relationships are the difference between the kid wanting to learn and the kid getting frustrated. So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to prognosticate, but I love that your approach on that, and I hope that you will definitely be involved with the special education
Oh,
of your
I'm
district.
very involved, and just in fact, I had my hour meeting one-on-one earlier this week with our special ed director, and I'm very excited about supporting the work that's being done in our special ed programs and classrooms. And I don't know if your child's in WISD, but if I can, if we can ever be of assistance to, better serve you, you let me know. Let us know.
That is huge, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I wanted to go into another kind of subject that's near and dear to the heart. Is vocational ed. As you know,
Oh,
not there's a shortage in the trades. The trades are graying, and the trades can provide quite a living for people.
oh yeah.
Do you what? Because right now the education system is set up for, you get done with high school, you go straight into college. Everything is kind of catered to that. There's starting to be a change in that. MISD is doing some things with the mile, or something like that, where they're working with different trade stuff. are you gonna look into that? What are your ideas on getting more voc education to your students?
Yeah, so I would disagree with you on that. And I think that was true 10 or 15 years ago. That the system was set up that everybody's going to go to college, and that's not the case. And we don't think that should be the case. What should be the case, and this is something that's a big deal with me philosophically on that. It's not our job to tell a student whether they're going to go to college or a vocational route. Does that make sense? Because
Perfect.
that's a mistake for any teacher, any principal to go down the road of identifying that. But one of the things that attracted me to Waxahachie ISD, we have an amazing career and technical education program. And
Okay.
in fact, I got to walk in this week and take a tour of our CTE facility at Waxahachie High School. It is incredible, the things that we're able to offer to our young people. And it's really a reflection on that's one great thing about growth. There's a lot of things that aren't great about it, like traffic. But man, we're able to offer a lot of really great programs to our kids. And I'm a huge believer in that. I'm a huge believer in, the majority of our students, I can tell you right now, the majority of our high school students at Waxahachie High School are taking a CTE class so that they are exposed to some of those vocational offerings. And we're really looking. I know I've had conversations already with our CT director. We're really looking to increase the numbers, and we already have. But we're looking to increase the numbers of students who walk out of our schools with one of those national certifications, because that allows kids to go out and get really high paying jobs.
What, and it does. You almost had me clapping there for a minute. What you were saying, because
Yes, sir.
I do believe that you got to foster the environment, but the kid has to choose. The kid
Amen.
has to get there. They have to get there.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, I'm very thankful for that. But um, if you have any questions going forward as far as national certifications for the construction trades, I'm in the voc field, and I have some connections to the certifying bodies for HVAC education in this country,
That's
and
awesome.
I can get you in touch with those people, and there's actually a national certification that with the programs that you have now and the trainers and the different things, you fall well within their standards that they'll require,
Yes,
and
sir.
you can actually have the kid get enrolled in that program and get that national NCCER, I believe it's called, or HVAC excellence certificate. So I could get what you just let me know, and I'll give you that information.
Listen, I so appreciate that, and I would be happy to put you in touch with our CTE director. And I'll tell you, are you pretty confident, DV, that there's going to be a future in air conditioning in Texas?
Yeah, yeah. You
You
know
think it's
what?
going to be around a while? Okay.
Yeah, there's things that are definitely, HVAC, unfortunately, prisons, HVAC, and there's just things that are electricians, they're gonna be needed.
Yeah, I
So
kind of think you're right, brother.
you
I think you're right.
they're gonna be needed, that.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I love to. But let's go into one of the, I mean, if not the most major topic that's affected our schools, and that's been COVID.
Yeah.
So so COVID took effects where these schools had to go to online school, and they had to things completely changed, and mask and barriers and that kind of stuff, and that's become a very heated topic on how we best serve the children with COVID rearing its ugly head again. So I would like your thoughts on how you see serving the kids and protecting them and yet meeting the concerns of the parents as the administrator of the school, when it concerns COVID.
Yeah, so it is. it is, there is no course that anyone who has trained to do the work I do, there's no course anywhere that I ever took that covered any of this.
Pandemic 101.
Yeah, it's unprecedented. And I know all the words have been overused, but it's true. I mean, it's not something we've dealt with prior to the last year and a half. Um, the most unfortunate part about it is there's not an answer that will make most people happy. And we do try to do that. We work for the people of Waxahachie Independent School District, people who live within our zones, and we're very well aware of that, as you and I talked about earlier in our conversation. And so we do try to create win-win situations where we're gonna make most of the folks that we work with, more pleased than less. And the bottom line is we can't in this situation. Our priority is student safety, and our priority is creating environments where students are able to learn. We do know this. And the state has taken us in a direction, and this is a part that I agree with. We learned without a doubt that our students are best served in person, period. That there is no substitute for a child in a classroom with a teacher who is seeing that child respond to his or her lesson and being able to react in time and provide feedback and help a child in real time. There's no substitute for that. Our kids, as we talked about earlier also, our kids moved backward because they were not in person with teachers. There's an accountability piece to that. If you're sitting in my classroom, it's a whole lot harder to, turn on this screen and keep playing with my Xbox. I mean, it's just harder to do that.
Right.
So our kids moved backward, as did throughout the nation, and so we have a default setting toward keeping kids in class. But we're working really hard and diligently to try to do so in a safe way.
How about masks?
Yeah. So we created, we did create this week, and we pushed it out to our folks, a color-coded system. And what we've done is we look at the population, DV, of our campus, and that's a combined population of students and staff. And we take that overall population, and for any campus that has a population, a positive rate that is lower than 4%. Okay. So 0 to 4%, that's a green campus. And a green campus, masks are optional, visitors are welcome on campus, and assemblies and events are allowed. If we go from 4% to just less than 7%, that's a yellow campus. And we follow all the green protocols that I mentioned, plus social distancing is increased. We make some efforts to try to keep kids distanced. Group work is a little bit limited in that on that campus, and we turn off our water fountains. Okay, if we get from 7% to 10%, that's an orange level, and masks are strongly recommended and encouraged. I went on one of our campuses. I went to Wedgeworth Elementary, which is currently one of our orange campuses, and I wore my mask. Because I'm highly recommending it. And so if we're going to highly recommend it, I'm going to lead by example. And so in that case, there's fewer symptoms of the illness that are required for a student to be sent home. Visitors are not allowed on campus. No assemblies are allowed, and a limit of 50% capacity for indoor extracurricular events. And we do a little more clustering of students. And then if we get to a level red, which is above 10%, then we will consider closure. Closure maybe of a specific classroom or a temporary closure potentially of a campus. But we do that very conservatively. We obviously don't want to shut down a classroom. We don't want to shut down and we don't have anybody at level red. Right now, I've got 2 campuses that are at orange. I have 3 campuses that are yellow, but the vast majority of our campuses are under 4%.
Oh, Wow. And that's, I hope things get better at Wedgeworth. That is concerning. So you have a good COVID plan in place. And so if families want to know in Waxahachie, want to know about this, this COVID plan, where can they go to get that information? Um,
All of that's available on our website. And
okay.
if they go to the Waxahachie ISD website, and they can go under Explore WISD. There's a tab that says Explore WISD, and there's a COVID website. And we update. This is what it looks like. This is
Mhm.
our dashboard, and we update that dashboard every day.
Hold on.
And
Can you hold on on that? I'm gonna put you on a solo layout so people could see that better.
yeah, and so we got that on our. We printed this directly from our website, and we're updating that on a daily basis. You can see up at the top it says September 2nd, 2021, and that's all of our data. And Waxahachie High School, when you combine our student population and our staff population, we have 3,065. And there's 69, and that's higher, obviously, than we don't want there to be any student or staff member who is positive, but we're at 2.25% at WHS.
Okay. Wow. It is that Delta variant something else. But
Yes, sir.
it sounds like you got a plan now. If when the schools change to these different levels, are the parents being notified, by email or etc.?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we put this into this yesterday was the first day we put our color coded system into place. And night before last, any campus that was not green received a specific notification that went home from the campus principal.
Excellent. This is the part where I want you to go ahead and share your vision, what you see as, when Dr. Hollingsworth is done with WISD, this is where I'd love to leave it. Can you tell the people of Waxahachie your vision for WISD?
Well, the thing I'm going to tell you, DV, and this may surprise you a little bit, but honestly, it doesn't matter what my vision is, and I know that sounds a little bit strange. What matters is what our vision is as a district, as a community, and so you're about to. I'm a Texan, so I'll tell you, you're fixing to hear here shortly. You're fixing to hear all about. Um, a visioning process. And that visioning process will be open to anybody who lives in Waxahachie ISD, anybody who is a parent, anybody who's a student, anybody who works for us. And we're going to open that up, and we're going to listen to the voices of our community. What are your dreams for Waxahachie ISD? What are your hopes and dreams for your child when it comes to their education? What do you want out of your child's education? Very open-ended, and we're going to conduct over 50 one-on-one interviews with our community to really dive even deeper into what their hopes and dreams are. And in that process, we're gonna hear things that are hard, things that are hard to deal with. But we're also going to hear some commonalities in what it is that this community wants to achieve in our district. And from that, we will develop a clear vision, and we will develop some very clearly articulated core values. And so we'll find those voices and those themes that fall out of those voices that are common, and those will be the values that shape the work we do. And that's what I want to do. I want to discover the values and the vision of this district, and then I want to live those out on a day-to-day basis. Once we know what that vision is and what those core values are, my job is to make sure that the 1,600 employees in this district are pulling hard on that rope and pulling in the direction that our communities told us they want to go.
Wow, that's special. Wow. Um, Dr. Hollingsworth, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here and take questions from me. I really appreciate that myself. but for the community, for Waxahachie.
Thank you.
I love my Ellis County community very much, and this is why I do it. So when I'm able to get somebody to give their time to, I really, really appreciate that. So thank you, Dr. Hollingsworth.
It's a pleasure, DV. Thank you for the opportunity. And I want to tell you again, thank you for your service to our country. And everything we're able to do is because guys like you have laid their lives on the line. And I'm very appreciative of that.
I appreciate your
Yes,
support.
sir.
Thank you so much. I look forward to, we're gonna tamper down as election season winds down. We still got a runoff, but I'm gonna try to see if I could get WISD board members on so we could talk the other side of the house, and just stay tuned for some good stuff, some announcements to come. I
Yeah,
appreciate
have me
you.
back. I'd love to come back on sometime, and especially after we've finalized our vision and core values, I'd love to come and talk to you about them.
Mr. Hollingsworth, you are always welcome to,
Thank you.
just go ahead and reach out to me, especially with that other thing too, what we talked about with NCCR. I would be more than happy to help the school and help you in any way, shape, or form be successful.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Stick around. I'm going to go ahead and close the show. Thank you.
Yes, sir.